Hello guys, welcome back to Balls Fan TV, and today we're back with another video doing the match preview for tomorrow's game against Derry City at the Brandywell. Coming into this off the back of an excellent away performance and win in the showgrounds against Sligo. Probably one of our best performances under Reynolds. You know, we were that dominant from start to finish. We just controlled the game, got a great 4-0 win, and yeah, you know, just absolutely cruise to victory. But I think, you know, we can probably all agree that we're going to face a tougher test here against the Derry side, who are probably better than Sligo. Look, I know they haven't started their season particularly well. You know, look at the results. You know, they haven't lost in their first two. You know, a narrow win against Sligo and then a draw against Dundalk, where they needed a late penalty to get an equaliser and, you know, just about narrowly avoided defeat. So they haven't exactly started like a house on fire, but you know, you have to look at that squad and say it's one of the best in the league without a doubt. They probably had the best window out of anybody in the league throughout the off season. Look at the signs that they made: Markey, James Clark, James McLean. You know, they made some really good signings on top of some already really good players that they've got. So regardless of their form, it's a tough test. But that being said, you know, you look at how we've started. I think we've been really good. Our game against Pats, you know, we were probably the better side. I think we looked a lot more, you know, threatening, especially in the second half of that game. It's just the fact that we didn't start with a striker. Obviously, that kind of cost us in that game. But then obviously in Sligo was the complete opposite, where you know we were absolutely clinical, really controlled that game for 90 minutes. Just looked great in all departments. At the back, we never looked like conceding, and every time we went forward, we looked like scoring. So, if we can get that kind of performance again, I think we should be looking to get another very positive result here. So on the team, look, I don't think this will come as a surprise to anybody. I'm not changing anything. I think most people will agree with that. You know, we spoke about how good we looked defensively on Saturday, how in control we were in midfield. I think that's probably what won us the game. It's just how dominant we were in the midfield and how we just, you know, didn't let Sligo have a sniff in there, and then an attack as well, of course. Just how clinical we were. I suppose the only thing that, you know, that some people might say is, you know, will they start Colin Whelan on that pitch in Derry? But look, he scores a hat trick last week. You don't drop him, you know, regardless of, you know, what we might think about his, you know, past, you know, injuries. And it's not like he's been, you know, constantly injured since he's come in the door. He's actually stayed, you know, relatively fit for most of his time with us. So look, I don't think you can really deal with that. I think he has to start again alongside Dougie. You know, both of them just complemented each other really well on Saturday. And there's no doubt we'd look far more threatening with two strikers on the pitch. So yeah, we absolutely have to stick with the same team unless there's any injuries that we don't know about. I suppose the big thing we talk about when we go up to the Brandywell is the pitch, you know, and how difficult it is to play on it and how tough it can be to really play the way you want to play, you know, in terms of getting the ball down and playing a bit of football. We've had some interesting battles with Derry, you know, there in Daily Mount as well, of course, over the last few years. You know, last season was a 4-3, and even going back before that, you know, we had the 3-3 in 2021, you know, with Georgie Kelly's late equaliser. So look, it's always a good game when we play Derry. You know, going to the Brandywell, it's never easy. Like we said, with the difficulty of playing on that pitch. But if we can just back up what we did in Sligo, I wouldn't have any worries about, you know, the potential conditions of the game in terms of the pitch. I think we can absolutely get another 3 points. We just really need to, you know, stay solid at the back like we have done. You know, to be fair, like the last 2 games, like really, can you think of any chances that Pats or Sligo had? You know, I don't think you can really. You know, if we can, you know, be that good again at the back, I think we can really frustrate Derry. And it's also really important to stay clinical, you know, going forward like we were against Sligo. You know, we don't want to see us go back to the levels that we had, you know, under Reynolds, you know, a few times, you know, over the last couple of years that he's been in charge, you know, where, you know, we tend to dominate games and then, you know, not being able to find a goal. You know, we don't want to get back to that. You know, we want to see what we saw in Sligo again, and you know, we want to carry that on now for the next few weeks and months. So that's going to be very important. And look, if we can you know, check all those boxes again, I think we can come away with another win. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 win. Look, you know, I know our record at the Brandywell isn't amazing. You know, we won there a few times in the past, but maybe not in recent years. But you have to say, when you look at the performances from Derry in their opening two games, I think they are there for the take and they are there to frustrate and take advantage of. So if that back line of Hickey, Todd and Mullen can stay solid and be as good as they have been in the first couple of games and keep another clean sheet, then I think we can create enough where something can fall for us going forward, and we can take it, and you know, maybe sit on it and win the game ugly if we have to. You know, look, it's away from home. You're not expected to have, you know, all the ball, so you know he can sometimes, you know, be a bit more conservative and approach it that way. But look, there's no doubt we've got the quality to take the game to Derry as well. So yeah, why not? I'm gonna go with another, you know, very good away victory where hopefully we can see another organised and you know, clinical performance from us. So yeah, that's where I'll end it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment down below your thoughts heading into this game, your score predictions, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.